guys, thanks for joining. I'm going to do some whispering for you today. So I recently watched The Apartment starring Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine, and Fred MacMurray. It's a really good movie. It won the Academy Award for 1960, actually. Funny story, Jack Lemmon actually starred in a Marilyn Monroe movie called Some Like It Hot, where he's like running away from the mob, so he pretends to be a girl and like dresses up like a girl and joins this all-girl band, which happens to have Marilyn Monroe in it. And it's a really good movie too. I'm big into oldies. There's some of my favorites. Everything from the silent film era up to the golden era is absolutely fantastic. It's where I pull a lot of my creative inspiration from in my personal life, from my art and the whatnot. So one of my favorites from the oldies is Clara Bow. She's like the one that made like the big heart lips famous in the 1920s, which is kind of perfect to be talking about today considering we're in grand old Hollywood. It's one of my very favorite places to be. It's one of my favorite places to give people tours of because I've been here so many times for work. I love taking people around to see like the old Hollywood sign, going up as far as they let you go before the signs say no trespassing. You get a really good view of the sign, and then you also get a really good view of the whole Hollywood and all of LA, which is fantastic. Another one of my favorites is a little morbid, but the Hollywood Forever Cemetery. It's really nice to walk around during the daytime. It's very pretty. You can go see a bunch of old celebrities, and on select weekend nights they also show old movies, and I think they have a couple of indie movie premieres there too. Another great one is if you're down on Hollywood Boulevard, is to go see Grauman's Chinese Theater. Big theater, historically important. It's where they've premiered a lot of old movies back in the 1920s or the 50s, really. I don't think it's used so much anymore except for like indie premieres. I was there like a few years ago for Scream Fest, which is an old horror, or not an old, but it's a horror movie festival built around independent film artists, and that's always a lot of fun. You're bound to run into some of them when you're going to premiere the movies too, so getting to talk to the directors and the actors and figuring out the inspiration and how they got into indie films and indie horror films is always fun. Another great site to go see is, if you're a foodie, is going up to Yamashiro. I always recommend people go right before sunset, get a drink, hang out before your reservation, because the view you get from the top of Yamashiro out onto the rest of LA and Hollywood is very different during the daytime versus sunset versus at nighttime. So when you go before sunset, of course everything's lit up. You get blue skies, it's beautiful, and then the whole sky turns like cotton candy colors during sunset. And then if you're there after sunset, you get you get all the city lights, which is absolutely fantastic. They also have like a little garden you can walk around in after dinner if you want. It's a lot of fun. Another great sight to see moving out of Hollywood, out towards Beverly Hills, is the tar pits. You can go walk around for a bit, and they have all these little signs that tell you about the old animals and dinosaurs that would get trapped there, which is a lot of fun. They even have like accurate size statues and the whatnot to look around. Another one of my favorites when you're here in LA is I love heading over to Chinatown and Koreatown. Absolutely fantastic food. I love some Korean barbecue. So good. And also, when you work your way over to Chinatown at night, the lanterns are all lit up, so that's pretty cool. Pretty fun to look at too, because they like glue this pretty bright red and then against the night sky. It's just like a really calming, really quiet, actually, the later you're there too. It's just a really nice little area to walk around in. I also like heading out to Venice Beach, of course. It has like really nice weather, and also it's just like a lot of fun to see the volleyball players out and the skateboarders out, and what is it called? The people on roller skates out and about. It's a very lively area on a nice weather day. Also, every time I'm here in LA, I'm a sucker for fruit vendors, which Venice Beach has a ton of. I do love me some good mango and tahini. It's such a yummy snack. It's sweet, salty, spicy. It's really everything you could want in like a nice healthy snack. Also, Venice Beach has a ton of frozen banana vendors. And I love frozen bananas dipped in chocolate. That's like the perfect summer snack, I think. Really, any fruit dipped in chocolate's really good. Moving on from Venice Beach, Long Beach has a bunch of cute little shops and restaurants, which I absolutely love. If you can't tell already, I'm a big foodie, so LA's definitely got like a lot of great spots for that. I also really like heading out towards getting out of LA to Rancho Cucamonga. The mountains are like just really pretty to walk around and hike in. There's like a lot of families out there, so you always feel like safe, and it just has like a really good view. And also, if you need like a little bit more of like a quiet pace from the city of LA, Rancho's like a really good spot for that. And then this trip actually, I'll be heading out to Palm Springs for the first time, so I'm really excited about that. I hear really great things about the boutique shops and just overall like pool lounging. It seems to be like a quieter spot that a lot of people like to go relax at. And then right over there is Joshua Tree National Forest, which famous for the Joshua trees, of course. A lot of artists head out that way for photo shoots and gatherings and whatnot. And I actually think that might be out towards where Coachella happens. I've never been, but it's a pretty big one amongst LAers to talk about and go to. So that's a ton of fun. I also really like heading out to see some of the different old hotels in the area. One of my favorites is Hollywood Historic. It's actually not on Hollywood Boulevard. It's over on Melrose, which is just a hop and a skip over from Hollywood. But it's got old architecture, and it's just like a really nice little hotel. It's got fair rates too, and it's near some really cute little boutique restaurants. And then hopping back over to the boulevard, you have the historic Roosevelt Hotel, which Marilyn Monroe's ghost is said to frequent. She used to hang out there quite a bit and even had like a designated room for herself, which is pretty cool to think about. I always like to imagine what it must have been like back in the heyday, right, when Hollywood was actually where movies were being made and everything. Now it seems like a lot of people go to locations to make stuff, but back in the day that was like really expensive to do, so unless you had like big A-listers and everything starring in the movie, Hollywood was really the place to be. I recently watched a documentary about Charlie Chaplin, actually going back to the 20s. That was pretty interesting. It started talking about him and like the Great Dictator and everything, and just a bunch of the old slapsticks he would make. I always thought the old bowler hats were pretty funny too, which he's pretty known for. Yeah, really just a bunch of really old, really good silent film actors and actresses were from around here. I'm a big fan of Lillian Gish too. It's kind of hard to miss her like long hair, which I've got pretty long hair, but I think she has me beat actually. And then yeah, the directors back in the day too, I feel like you had to be particularly talented because you were so limited by technology. You had to get really creative with special effects, and directors of photography back in the day were pretty talented too, because you could get whole moods from a scene just by what the director of photography was showing. The Twilight Zone actually is a really good one that shows that, and one of my very favorite scenes is there's this whole conversation going on between a man that's sitting on a bar counter and the bartender, but you don't see the conversation happening head on. You're seeing it happen through a mirror that's behind the bartender, so you're really only getting like the back of the bartender and then the front of the man sitting at the bar through the mirror. And it's just a really unique scene, and how they set it up, it kind of lets you know that something funky is about to happen. Yeah, the Twilight Zone is a really good one. I've actually cosplayed a few of the episodes a couple of times. Growing up, I had military parents, so it was like a lot of fun watching the old like Stranded Pilot and Stranded Hoax episodes where they're out in the desert, which is pretty fun. I did one photo shoot where it was got an old flight suit in an old canteen and was just kind of pretending to be like a stranded pilot. I think it was out in White Sands. We photographed that, and that was pretty interesting. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to like and subscribe.